Governor Greg Abbott, January 24th, 2024, the federal government has broken the compact between the United States and the states. The executive branch of the United States has a constitutional duty to enforce federal laws protecting states, including immigration laws on the books right now. President Biden has refused to enforce those laws and has even violated them. The result is he has smashed records for illegal immigration. That's part of the note. The note Governor Abbott released today. I'm going to jump back into it, keep reading it here. This is serious stuff. Despite having been put on notice in a series of letters, one of which I delivered to him by hand, President Biden has ignored Texas' demand that he perform his constitutional duties. President Biden has violated his oath to faithfully execute immigration laws enacted by Congress instead of prosecuting immigrants for the federal crime of illegal entry. President Biden has sent his lawyers into federal courts to sue Texas for taking action to secure the border. It's the first of 3 points. President Biden has instructed his agencies to ignore federal statutes that mandate the detention of illegal immigrants. The effect is to legally allow their en masse parole into the United States. A third point here, by wasting taxpayer dollars to tear open Texas border security infrastructure, President Biden has enticed illegal immigrants away from the 28 legal entry points along the state's southern border, bridges where nobody drowns, and into dangerous waters of the Rio Grande. He continues, under President Biden's lawless border policies, more than 6 million illegal immigrants have crossed our southern border in just 3 years. This is more than the population of 33 different states in this country. This illegal refusal to protect the states has inflicted unprecedented harm on the people all across the United States. Continues, James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, and the other visionaries who wrote the U.S. Constitution foresaw that states should not be left to the mercy of a lawless president who does nothing to stop external threats like cartels smuggling millions of illegal immigrants across the border. That is why the framers included both Article 4, Subsection 4, which promises that the federal government shall protect each state against invasion, and Article 1, Subsection 10, Clause 3, which acknowledges the state's sovereign interest in protecting their borders. Arizona versus United States 567 U.S. 387 419 2020 Scalia J. dissenting. The failure of the Biden administration to fulfill the duties imposed by Article 4 Subsection 4 has triggered Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3, which reserves to this state the right of self-defense. For those reasons, I have already declared an invasion under Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3 to revoke Texas's constitutional authority to invoke Texas constitutional authority to defend and protect itself. That authority is a supreme law of the land and supersedes any federal statuses. To the contrary, the Texas National Guard, the Texas Department of Public Safety, and the Texas personnel are acting on that authority, as well as state law to secure the border. Signed, Greg Abbott, Governor of Texas. Sorry, I couldn't talk to you. That's a lot to get through. Hopefully you stuck through it. That was released today by Governor Greg Abbott in Texas, going against, the Supreme Court order, which would allow the federal government to remove the wire, the barbed wire, the razor wire that were put along the border, opening passage into Texas. So that's kind of a big deal, right? Did Texas just secede from America? No, I don't think they did secede, but this is putting us in interesting territory, right? Just from talking to the guys, kind of talking this over with a few people, there's a few possible scenarios we could be looking at. One is, the Supreme Court gave an order to allow the feds to remove the razor wire. Clearly, the state of Texas, Governor of Texas, National Guard, is not following that order. So the government could then attempt to enforce the order, right? Are they going to send in feds, FBI, some federal agency to either arrest the governor for failing to follow the order? Are they going to attempt to arrest the National Guardsmen on the border? That's one possible scenario. Then you wonder what that would lead to, right? What's the next step after that? So that's one possible scenario, right? Second possible scenario is they can't bring in the military, right, unless they declare martial law. If they declare martial law, they could then activate military forces and then send those military forces potentially into Texas to at least deal with either the government of Texas, the state government of Texas, or potentially enforce the Supreme Court's order on the border, potentially confronting the Texas National Guard, right? That is certainly a possibility, martial law. They could go after Abbott individually, marshals, FBI, something like that, attempt to arrest Abbott for, once again, ignoring the Supreme Court order. Don't know, right? Abbott is certainly making his case. I think the fourth possibility, there's a fourth option there, which is the government does nothing, right? I'm not seeing a lot of this on the news, mostly seeing it on X, on Twitter right now. They could ignore it, right? Pretend it didn't happen, do nothing about it, sit on it, wait 3 months, 6 months, and then come back in, push it out further into the election, after the election. I really don't know, guys, but it seems like the situation is escalating like every other situation going on in the world right now, whether we're talking about pandemics, whether we're talking about World War III, whatever situation we're talking about, it seems like everything continues to escalate. But this is a potential flashpoint in Texas, right? Is what does the government do, right? If anything, they could certainly just ignore it, do nothing, pretend it's not happening. And then how did Texas respond, right? What is Texas going to do? What is the governor going to do? So I would keep an eye on the situation. I mean, we could be under martial law. Texas could be under martial law tomorrow if the government were to go that route, claiming dissent, sedition, insurrection, whatever words they feel like using. Sense, clearly, Abbott has made his case, and I read that to you. Those are his words, not mine. But you have to wonder, right? Have to wonder what can happen next, and all I can do is speculate. I have no idea where this is going to go, right? It could get potentially ugly, right? We really don't know. We really don't know. So if the government sends in troops, if they try to activate martial law, try to bring the military in against the Texas National Guard. There is a military base, there are military resources in Texas that they could activate, and then how many of those soldiers would go along with it, right? And I don't know on that. I'm really speculating here. I want to get this out there because it is a big deal. I'm not seeing it on the news much right now, so this is a bit of a news break, and I'm in Texas, so it certainly affects me. If we're in martial law tomorrow, that'll probably impact everyone in Texas, and what happens next, I don't know. So hope that helps out, guys. As always, thank you for watching, and we appreciate you.